Dragon Reborn. So, this book kind of continues the tradition of self-contained story, but still playing into the rest of the franchise. Now, we're going to get to it later, but this is still in an era of this overall timeline where characters just have to fucking walk everywhere, right? Like, they just have to walk, ride a horse, take a boat. There is no fast travel. Now, later in the series, we gain access to some, like, gateway magic. So, there's a charm to these books. Of most of the first like 5 books is just people fucking walking, right? People exploring the world. And I think that's why when we get to, like, books 7, 8, 9, 10, we're so intimately familiar with this world, because for the first 5 books, people were just walking around exploring it. So it really taught us a lot about, it felt like a history lesson, but it was like a history lesson, but you had a really cool teacher who was really good at teaching so that you remembered it. So that's, again, like, sorry, I'm gushing about Robert Jordan's world building again. My bad. So, synopsis. Rand. In the beginning of this book, this is after the Battle of Falma. That's that town from the end of the last book. He's recovering from his injuries. The girls have now gone back to the White Tower, and he, Moraine, Lan, and Dubois, minus Matt. We'll talk about Matt a little later. This book is where the side characters start to become more important. The first 2 books were really just about Rand, and his friends kind of had little side arcs. But this is the first book where it's like, hey, yeah, Rand is important, but Rand is barely in this fucking book. Rand starts having these very strange visions. Now, you've probably heard me mention it a few times, the Koreathon cycle. The Koreathon cycle is a book that was written thousands of years ago, and it is basically colloquially known as the Prophecy of the Dragon. So basically, part of that, the first part, the confirmation, if you will, that somebody is the Dragon Reborn, is that they will wield the sword that is not a sword. Kalendor, this glowing fuck off sword right here, that's Kalendor. Basically, part of the prophecy states that only the Dragon Reborn can touch this sword. Otherwise, I don't know if they die, but it just, like, won't react to anyone else, right? So, Rand starts having these dreams, these really crazy, wacky dreams of a fucking glowing sword floating among these red columns. And he's like, Moraine, what is this shit? What do I keep fucking seeing in my dreams? Mind you, Perrin is also getting these dreams. We will talk about Perrin later. I promise I will get to Matt and Perrin. I promise. I really will. I swear, guys, I swear. So, either way, he gets these dreams, and deep down in his core, Rand knows. He knows, if I go to this place called Tyr, where the sword is, if I go there, I can he's kind of in denial. I can prove that I am not the Dragon Reborn. Because I'm going to go there, I'm going to go touch this fucking sword, and nothing is going to happen. And then I can finally rest, because that means I am not the Dragon Reborn. So he basically goes fucking feral, and he just says, fuck this, I'm going. I'm running. And he fucking just dips in the middle of the night and starts fucking running across the world, trying to get there and just go prove that he's not the Dragon Reborn. That's the, like, last time we see him until the fucking final act. He's in, like, 2 tiny little sections later on, but for the most part, he's not in the book, which I think is a great thing. I think it's a great way to do it, because now we focus on the side characters and we get to figure out who they really are as people. So let's do that, huh? Now, Matt. Let's talk about our friend Matt Drumcoffin. He picks up this cursed fucking dagger, and part of this cursed dagger's deal is that this horrible shadow being is now taking over his body slowly. And it's kind of also in the second book alluded to, because in the second book, Matt really isn't a character in the second book because he's struggling with this fucking demon inside of him, but doesn't really understand really what's happening. Nor does he remember what is happening. So he is now being taken to Tarvalin for treatment, and that's kind of his deal there. We'll come back to Matt. Perrin. I mean, fucking look at him. Look at the mogging taking place right here. Look at this. He's got, first off, the hair, the beard, the axe, the fucking cool fire hammer, this fucking bird here, the falcon. That's a fun little wink, nod. These ghost wolves, all this shit, right? There's a lot going on with this guy. A lot. So, what's Perrin's fucking deal here? So, in the first book, Perrin started having these very strange... There's a strange phenomenon happening with Perrin, where he could have sworn he could talk with wolves. Well, as it turns out, he can. Legit, he can just talk with fucking wolves. Like, that's the very, very shitty, like, short version of Perrin's story. He's basically a wolf spirit stuck in a human's body. Like that cringe girl in high school, you know, who always used to, like, run to fucking lunch on all fours and then growl at people. He's like that, but, like, not shitty. So he's like got a wolf spirit inside of him. He can talk to wolves. He can enter this dream world called Talayam Rayad, where the wolf spirits reside. Really cool shit. So he's kind of doing the same thing as Rand, right? Where he's trying to not do this shit. He's really trying to be like, this is unnatural. This is crazy. I don't want to admit that I can do this. This is really scary. It's very strange. So he goes on a journey, shall we say. He meets Fail, who I am a avid Fail simp. Again, I do not like this art style, but this is Fail. She is from a place called Saldea, which is kind of like Persia coded, but it's like a frozen wasteland. It's really cool spot. But she's amazing. She's like best waifu ever. But basically, her whole character trait is that she also has a lot of growing up to do. She's so back in the events of the last book. She reveals this later on, but she's a hunter for the horn. Basically, every couple 100 years, all the adventurers of the world get together, and they're going to go hunt for the Horn of Valir. Well, she's one of those people, and she is soft spoiler. She's secretly royalty. Back in Saldea. She's like second or third in line or some shit. Something royal bloodline, I don't know. So she is she starts off really snotty, really bratty, really annoying. But then she sees Perrin and starts to act like suave. She basically glued to this fucking guy. Because she just knows. She knows, like, hey, there's something about this fucking guy. There's something special about this fucking guy. I'm gonna follow him around. I'm gonna see what the fuck is going on. Because honestly, I don't know if I'm able to find the horn by myself. And you know, these people, because Perrin and Moraine and Lan are traveling together. They are trying to chase after what's his name? Rand. They're trying to chase after Rand. So they're trying to chase him, so they're kind of like always trailing behind and shit. This whole time, he's trying to deny his wolf nature, right? And Fail is constantly on his ass. And I don't want to go as far as to say enemies to lovers, because I don't think they were ever truly enemies, but he found her insanely fucking annoying. She's so fucking annoying. I can say that. Okay, enemies to lovers. They never like duked it out or anything. They never actually like fought each other, but like he just thought she was fucking cringe and annoying. And she, I mean, obviously, I mean, look at him. Like I said, look at him, bro. So she was like, you know, kind of glued to him and shit. So we get some more of that. This isn't necessarily Perrin's like peak, but it's good. It's very good. We start to see more and more and more of him. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave it with both of those characters. We're going to get a lot more of them later, so don't worry. Frenemies to lovers, maybe. You can call it that. You can call it frenemies to lovers. Why he kind of looked like bro, I wish I was that big. I wish I was that fucking jacked, bro. That would be nice. That would be fucking cool as hell. His whole story is that he's a blacksmith back in the Two Rivers, and that's all he really wants to do. He doesn't believe in being a hero. He doesn't believe in destiny or anything like that. He just wants to go back to home. He just wants to go back home, and he just wants to be a blacksmith again. And that's it. So, the actual main story for this book is very simple. Like I said, it's literally everyone trying to find Rand. And on this mad chase all the way to Tyr. That's pretty much it. Now, the girls in Tarvalin, again. Now, this is where again, some people have had some criticism where he is, and myself included, where he starts to reuse stories, like reuse like plot elements. So the girls just get back to the White Tower. They get back there, and pretty much immediately they leave again. Again, they fucking leave. They go find fucking Rand again. So now it works. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's a fun story, but this isn't the first time or even the second time. Well, this is the second time, but it's not the last time that it's going to happen. Along their journey, they meet the other waifu. Quite possibly, the best girl in the entire franchise. I love her very much. Also, this is not how I picture her, but whatever. My mind's eye did not picture this. But also, you know what I hate? I hate that what's her age? It doesn't show her age, of course. What I hate is that with this art style, she looks like she's 35. I'll give you a fucking guess how old she is in the book, but it ain't no fucking 35. In the book, she's like the same fucking age as Rand, which is like 18, 19. Exactly. So she looks a lot older, and that's my problem with this art style, is that all the official art style, it makes everyone look so much older. And my thing is, there's already old characters, like, and that's why people always say, oh, it's a YA story, all the main characters are like 18, and that's not true. The core cast is, but then everyone else is like 30 to 60, sometimes even like 300 or 400 years old. Also, if you can channel the one power, you live for a long time. That's also a thing, but that's important much later. But yeah, she's first off, best girl, of course, best girl. She's great. Also, not a great representation of her personality here. I don't know. It's closer to new adult at youngest bracket. Yeah, Yeah, it's it's a complex. It's hard to categorize these books, of course, but I think there's a difference between a YA, right, where it's like it's designed to be read by young adults, and then there's, yes, the cast is young, but this is intended for mature individuals, and that's this book. That's a series where I don't know. Doesn't everybody, no matter what age you are, don't you like to remember when you were young? You know, reminisce about when you were 18, 19, and how dumb you were, and how you didn't know shit about anything, and how naive you were. That he just captures that energy so perfectly with a lot of these characters. It's got young in age and old in experience. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But it's not. Fuck. What is that anime I was watching? Broken Blade. Broken fucking that. First off, that anime fucking sucks. But Broken Blade, where it's like all the main characters are like 15, and it's like, okay, that's anime. But then they also made this 15-year-old kid like a general in their army. Meanwhile, the other generals are all like 60, you know, general age. But they all have to like bend the knee to this fucking stupid kid. And this kid is like, oh, I'm a fucking prodigy general. And it's just I hate it. I hate it so fucking much. They don't do that in this series. They don't. Literally, if one of the main cast, like these young quote kids, says anything, any adult in the room says, shut up. Shut up. You're a fucking kid. You don't know shit. And the kid actually has to earn, right? The young characters have to earn their place in the world, and I love that. It's not just, yeah, but I'm the main character, so you're going to have to listen to me. None of that. That does not happen. So, that's kind of nice. So, back to what I was talking about. Avienda. So, Avienda is an Aiel. Now, Aiel are quite possibly the most interesting group of people in this fucking setting. They are so fucking cool. Long story, incredibly short. They believe in something called, well, they don't believe, they practice something kind of similar to like samurai bushido, but it's called Jiuto. Basically, honor. They're a very honorable society. They're a warrior society that lives in the desert. After the breaking of the world, which happened 3,000 years ago, when Luz Theron Telamon, the original dragon, the Dark One convinced him to like kill his family and all that shit in a fit of rage. And then when he came back to, he got so upset he basically blew up. He basically nuclear exploded himself and broke everything, right? Caused like an apocalypse. That's the breaking. So after the breaking, the Aiel, right? They were tasked with something by the Aes Sedai, and they failed their task. And they were sent into the desert as punishment. Now, the Aiel of the current day do not know the details of what happened. They have no idea. All they know is, we live in the desert because we just do. We're warriors, we're strong, we're powerful, because we just are. Because we're just that fucking cool. And on the surface, I love that, right? They're like a nomadic society. They have tribes and clans and septs and all that shit. It's really cool. But they're all badass. And they're renowned worldwide for their fighting ability. They're all kind of like one-man army type shit. Very fun. But in this book, The Dragon Reborn, we finally get to meet Aiel characters, like the core Aiel characters, Avienda and Ruark, and basically there's a band of Aiel who are traveling around trying to find what they call the Karakarn. Now, the Karakarn is the Aiel prophecy. Now, it is revealed later in the series that it is the same thing as the Dragon Reborn, but the Aiel version. The Karakarn is the chief of chiefs, basically. Basically, they're fucking chosen one, right? So, all they know is that the wise ones of their tribes told them, hey, go to the other side of the mountains and go look for, I don't know, anyone special. That's it. You'll know them when you see them. So that's what they did. And so this band of warriors are roaming around, and they encounter Nynaeve and Egwene. And they become like instant friends, like instant besties. Because they all just kind of learn a lot about each other's cultures and yada yada yada. Not to keep like gushing about the Aiel because I love them, but like whatever. So it's really interesting. So we finally get an introduction into them, and they become a much bigger part later in the series. So, Dragon Reborn. What I think this does well, actually, let's get to the end of the book, right? Once again, we get one of those convergent storylines where all the plot threads kind of circle back to the same point. So everybody makes it to Tyr, and it's called the Stone of Tyr. It's right, this big mega fortress in the city that's like a boulder. If any of you are familiar with the Tacoma Dome, kind of like that, right? Just a big fucking dome structure, but it's made of fucking stone and it's huge. So basically, they get there and that's where they house Kalendor. So Matt makes it there, Perrin makes it there, everyone makes it there. Everyone's there. It's this big fucking thing, and in the chaos, Rand seizes Kalendor, proving himself wrong, that he is, in fact, the Dragon Reborn. There's no denying it. There's no hiding it. There's no running from it. It's him. He has no choice. So that's kind of the sweet, short version of it. And what I think this book does well, right? Its highlights. This book has a lot of charm to it. It fleshes out its side characters a lot better, very well. We finally get into the heads of other characters, and I like that a lot. It introduces more side characters, just like every other book. It adds a whole new group to the cast. It adds a lot of new concepts, but then also it's probably the highlight of books where fast travel is not possible, right? Because like I said, there's no fast traveling in this book. They just have to fucking walk. So again, the world building is exquisite. Robert Jordan in the early books, he keeps it all the way through, but the early books really it shines. He has this fun little gimmick that he does where characters stay at an inn all the time, right? Like all the fucking time they're staying at an inn. He goes to great length every single time they go to an inn to, one, the name of the inn, two, the picture outside on the sign of the inn, and then like the general vibe of the inn and the description of the innkeeper. Like he does this every fucking time, and the first couple of times you're like, dog, do you really need to fucking do this every single time? But then after like the third book, you're like, oh, I wonder what this inn's gonna be like. Hell yeah. It's very strange. It actually starts off annoying and then ends insanely charming. It's really weird, kind of a weird phenomenon. And then in the later books, when people can just fucking teleport everywhere, you find yourself missing all these inns, and you find yourself missing this travel time where these first couple of books feel like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, right? Where the first book is one book module, and then, you know, the characters go, oh my god, that was such a fun campaign, let's run another one with the same characters, and then you get the Great Hunt. And then you get the fucking third book where they're like, oh my god, that second campaign was so fun, let's run another. That's what the first couple of books feel like. They're so fun. He manufactured nostalgia for his own work. And that's devious work. Devious fucking work from Robert Jordan. And I love it. So, highlights. The travel. the world building and the side characters. The low points. There's not very many low points. I think honestly the singular low point that I had for this book was the girls leaving the White Tower again. Where like they show back up and then they're like, we're leaving again. And that's, it's not bad. It's just like, dude, we just did this. We literally just did this in the last book. You all were there for like 5 seconds. Now, it is a little different this time. They are sent away on a mission by the Armelin seat, by Swan Sanche. Whereas the first time they kind of ran away. So yes, it's different, but I want, at this point, we still don't really know anything about the White Tower, about how anything works. So every time it's like, but I want to know how this works. How does the magic work? What's the problem? What are we doing? So that's the one thing that I kind of don't like about this book. But other than that, this book's fire. Now, this is a tough one to rate. Part of me wants to say it's perfect. But in my heart, I know it is only amazing. So I think only because of that one aspect of the girls leaving the tower again, leaving me wanting even more of the White Tower, in like a bad way, where it's like, y'all just fucking got here. Can't we go back, bro? That's like the one part where I got frustrated with the book. But there's a scene. Now I have to put on my spoiler banner again, everybody, and it's gonna be quick, I promise. So I'm gonna keep the captions on for those that need them. Spoiler real quick. So there's a scene with Perrin and Fael, and it's where Perrin realizes that he probably loves Fael. So basically, Fael is soul is captured inside of this fucking trap that's inside of another realm, and the only way he can say, and Moraine does not give a shit, because Fael is just some random girl that they picked up on their travels, so she's like, womp womp, sorry, I have real problems. So Perrin is just like, well, what the fuck, like, I gotta save her then. So he has to embrace his wolf tendencies and enter the realm of wolves, right, this dream world, and save her. And again, almost brought me to fucking tears when he does. It is so good, so fucking good. But, and I honestly, I think if he didn't bungle, I don't know, bungle's a strong word, but if he didn't, let me turn off the spoiler. If he didn't put that weird little tiny, oh, they're back at the tower, they're leaving again, if he didn't do that, this would have been perfect. I think this book is right on the fucking line of amazing and perfect. Like right there. It's right fucking there. It is so good, but it just like, it's one millimeter from the line. It's right there. Overall though, fantastic book. And then how it fits into the rest of the story, it really it kind of solidifies that Rand is the fucking Dragon Reborn, straight up. Like that's it. That he is the Dragon Reborn. There is no getting around it now. It is also the end of an era.